I was at secondary school on November the 5th, 1996, and I was in year 11, over halfway through my GCSEs. I was playing a lot of rugby, I was acting in some plays and doing a bit of debating, and I was a busy teenager. I read a lot, and I read the newspaper most days. However, I can hardly remember a single thing about the US presidential election of that year. I know that Bill Clinton won, but I don't remember watching any debates or reading about any policies that he had. I don't remember reading of any pop stars or influencers who supported him or his opponent, whose name I couldn't remember. The election just kind of happened. Clinton won again, and it was mentioned in the UK newspapers and on the UK news. However, it felt relatively low-key. It was important, sure, but it wasn't an election which could be described as historic. And I don't think that there was any way that my headmaster at the time would have dreamt of giving an assembly about it. The most recent US presidential election, though, feels far more important. It is an election which I know many of the students here at Prior Park were interested in and invested in. And that's for one reason, and one reason alone. This is a movement like nobody's ever seen before. And frankly, this was, I believe, the greatest political movement of all time. There's never been anything like this in this country, maybe beyond. And now it's going to reach a new level of importance because we're going to help our country heal. We're going to help our country heal. We have a country that needs help, and it needs help very badly. We're going to fix our borders. We're going to fix everything about our country. Now, this was my approximation of the victory speech of the man who will soon become the President of the United States for the second time, Donald J. Trump. This 78-year-old millionaire is not a popular figure in the UK. He is a convicted criminal and is currently appealing against a judgment that he falsified business records. He's been held liable by US courts for both sexual abuse and fraud. After his loss in the 2020 presidential election, he fanned the flames of an uprising in Washington, D.C., which led to an armed assault on the Capitol building. By any measure, he doesn't seem to be a particularly nice chap. In a recent poll, 57% of people in the UK said that they were unhappy about Trump's re-election, whilst only 20% said that they were happy. I had friends and colleagues message me in the hours after Trump's comprehensive victory in the election was declared. Not one of them was happy. Many were upset, and some were angry. Social media, predictably, went nuts, sometimes in quite a funny way. Now, every day, Susie Dent from the Tea Time quiz show Countdown posts a word of the day on Twitter. The day after the election, she posted, the word of the day is recrudescence, 17th century, meaning the return of something terrible after a time of reprieve. Lots of people in the UK and around the world talked about the result being unbelievable and predicted dire things for the future of America and the globe. After Trump won, a mental health charity promoted their tips to look after your mental health during traumatic world events, stating that these are difficult and intense moments, and anxiety is not an unreasonable response. This strikes me as a little strange, and perhaps something we might like to question. Should we, here in the UK, be anxious about a US-American presidential election? The charity Anxiety UK describes anxiety as feeling a disproportionate dread in situations where there is no actual threat. A little worry about things happening directly to you is normal. Significant anxiety about an election result in a country you don't live in isn't. And it does seem to me to be a little excessive. Now, a left-wing newspaper in this country, The Guardian, actually offered its journalists therapy after the result. Reading about these sorts of responses and reactions to Trump's victory, I began to question why, in contrast to the US election that happened when I was 15, this election seemed so important.
so vital for people in the UK? Why did this election matter so much more than previous elections? Is it just about Donald Trump? I don't think so. In part, I think it's because of the fact that America is a more important country to the UK than it has ever been. Yes, Russia matters, and China matters, and Europe continues to be important. However, what we watch on Netflix, on Disney Plus, on Apple TV, mostly comes out of America. What we listen to on Spotify or YouTube mostly comes out of America. Our culture has changed and become ever more American. Now, you could argue that this is an example of globalization, which is a term that all the students here at Prior Park will undoubtedly have learned about in geography. It refers to the process by which countries and people become more connected. Improvements in transport and communications enable people, goods, money, and information to move between countries more and more easily. However, I don't think it is quite that simple. It isn't globalization which explains why we care so much about the USA. It is the fact that the world has not only become more global, it has also become more American. It is less about globalization and more about Americanization. And if you want one easy, straightforward example of this, then look no further than Halloween. The UK economy now gets an estimated £1 million boost from Halloween, 4 times more than a decade ago. We used to celebrate November the 5th, Bonfire Night, as our British autumnal festival. No longer. Now, instead, we throw away 46 million themed plastic items every Halloween because we've been sold on the idea that Halloween is important, second only to Christmas in our party calendar. Halloween, in its modern format, is an American phenomenon. And as the world becomes increasingly Americanized, Halloween has become a global phenomenon. Culture is now far more global than ever before. Donald Trump is a cultural phenomenon. Before he entered politics, he was a reality TV star on the original US version of The Apprentice. He made a lot of noise on social media in the years before becoming a politician. And social media, as we all know, is global. Donald Trump joined Twitter in 2009. And over the next 12 years, he sent 57,000 tweets. As I write this assembly, he has 94 million followers on that platform. His social media followers are all around the world. So the tweets he sends are news all around the world. These are astonishing numbers, and they certainly put my 600 Twitter followers in the shade. However, even Trump is dwarfed by other popular American celebrities. By most measurements, Taylor Swift is one of the most significant people on the planet. On Instagram, she has nearly 300 million followers. Beyonce has about 20 million more followers even than Tay-Tay. Both these powerful and influential women endorsed and supported Trump's opponent in the presidential election, the Democratic Vice President, Kamala Harris. Now, that obviously didn't help Kamala too much. Trump won the election even without the support of those American Swifties who did what their hero suggested. However, from the UK perspective, endorsements like this matter. They matter because they mean that US politics is now part of the culture we consume. It's not just on the news at 6 o'clock like it would have been in my day. It isn't just in the newspaper's world section. Now, American culture is something that people in this country are interested in and invested in because they consume it every single day. And because they consume the culture, they invest in the politics. And that's been a significant shift over the past 30 years. I think there's a difference, though, between being interested in events in America and invested in events in America. If you are investing your time, your energy into political events in America, then you may be more likely to be anxious about events there. And I doubt that can be very healthy. The level of reaction in the UK about Trump's victory is faintly odd. So many British people now appear to be invested in events across the pond. However, I wonder how many of those people forget that America is still a democracy. 57% of people in the UK are unhappy with Donald Trump's election, but 50.2% of voters in the USA are happy about it. We know they're happy about it because they voted for it. Because of the importance of the USA to the global economy and to global security, people across the globe wring their hands and worry about the fact that America might have voted for a man that, whatever you think about him, is a polarizing figure. Now, a polarizing figure is someone whose personality causes a division of opinion. Polarizing people are either adored or despised. Trump is one such person. Now, across the globe, and certainly in the UK, more people appear to loathe him than love him. However, when that loathing gets too great, when people become overly invested in it, then they stop thinking rationally. They forget that 76 million people voted for Donald Trump to become their president. And I think it's important to try and understand why. There have been a lot of opinion pieces written about why people didn't vote for Kamala Harris. Was it because she is a woman and there's still a lot of sexism in America? Maybe. I'm sure that there are some people who would struggle with the idea of a woman as commander-in-chief, but surely not 76 million people. Was it because she was black? America has deep-seated racial problems based on a troubled history of slavery and race relations. And there will be many people in that country who might never vote for a black candidate, but not 76 million people. After all, 66 million US citizens voted for Barack Obama, a black man, in 2012. To try and explain Trump's victory because of racism and misogyny is, I feel, mostly to miss the point. 76 million people voted, at least in part, for him, and not necessarily against Kamala Harris. Now, that might be because most people around the world choose not to take an excessive interest in politics or the personalities of political candidates. Most people vote for how things will affect them. And mostly, that comes down to one issue, which is always the most important thing in any election, in the USA or Britain, or pretty much anywhere in the world: the economy. If people feel better off and richer and happier, then they vote to keep things going as they are. They'll vote for the continuity candidate. If they feel worse off, poorer, sadder, then they'll vote for someone who promises change. And in this instance, they'll vote for someone like Donald Trump. Now, that isn't something worth agonizing about. To be interested about why people voted a certain way is fine, and it's natural. To be anxious about why people vote a particular way in a democracy, you may as well be anxious about why the sun comes up in the morning. It's pointless. America is still the oldest continuously operating democracy in the world. Its current constitution has been going since 1789, and it shows that America is more than a country. It's an idea, and one that's lit the world for 2 centuries. Some people may not like the result of this election. Some people may not like the man who won this election. However, we should all be happy that this election took place peacefully and smoothly. It is a triumph of human will and energy that for over 200 years, the American people have been voting for their leader and making their voices heard. America, no matter what some people think of it right now, is still a shining city on a hill, an example for the entire world of what a democracy can be, a model for what can happen when people choose to work together in the service of a nation that they have willed into being. One of the most famous speeches about the United States of America was given in 1863 by the Republican president, Abraham Lincoln, known as the Gettysburg Address. It is only 272 words long. This famous speech, one of the most famous in all history, was in essence a prayer. In it, Lincoln said that he hoped that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. The votes of over 150 million people a few weeks ago show that it hasn't perished yet. And that is something that the whole world should celebrate, no matter who won.